project called Mustang Crossing. We're going to build homes next year. Just in time for the recession, so I'm probably not the smartest guy. We're also looking to develop a 330 space manufacturing home community for Belmont 20. Going through the process.
Good, Glenn.
Good morning, I'm Scott Stutman. I work for Lendlease. It's a large development company in New York City. I'm working on getting my personal, professional life to catch up to my personal life. I also relocated to Durango about a year ago. I'm the director of operations for those high-rise type projects. I have the experience of building the largest modular high-rise in the country in Brooklyn.
Let's hang out.
Yeah. So I'm coming to meetings like this to try to meet the local business community and, as I said, get my professional life to catch up to my personal life. Thank you.
Good morning. I'm realizing I've been to Alliance meetings, but maybe not an investor meeting. Ellen Stein, I'm marketing director for First Southwest Bank, overseeing the marketing for our 6 branches across Southern Colorado and our nonprofit community fund. And also, Mark didn't say he's our new COO, so it's very exciting that we have you back in town, and I'm happy to be here.
Thank you. Thank you.
Good morning, everybody.
Good morning.
Good morning. So as Jameson mentioned, we'll have a much better update next month on the activity with RHA. We actually have a meeting with them November 17th, and we'll figure out what our formal arrangement will be with them. Last night, there was a La Posta landowners meeting that went off really well. The city hosted it. The primary objective was to let the landowners look at the maps, what the infrastructure plan was. We are under contract right now for sewer, water capacity and design, as well as the road improvements design and traffic study. We'll have a more thorough update in December. I know we've been threatening to do that for the last couple of meetings, but we'll pin Scott Shine down and have him here give us a formal review of the post and maybe show some maps as to what progress the city's making on the annexation. The internship program, we still have internships available. We're trying to write you guys checks for $3,000 so that you take on an intern for 150 hours. That translates to $20 an hour. We'll make a stronger push once the kids come back and start the spring semester. We'll have a Children's Circle event in this room December 1st. We have a guest speaker, David McElvaney. He's an advisor to the FLC Foundation, and he will talk about micro and macroeconomics, and hopefully we'll bring some learnings to this meeting next month as well. I'm just going to quickly gloss over this because we do have a very full agenda. As a result of the federal hike, fourth one in a row of 75 basis points, the mortgage rates are following. Just last week, it topped over 7% again. It's off this week a little bit, but what that really translates to in terms of affordability on a $300,000 loan, a 30-year fixed loan, payments in December of last year when the interest rates were just over 3 was $1,283. What that means today, and today's interest rate is $2,012. So just we see the interest rates and it often doesn't quite translate, but when you put the numbers of the payments down, it really does translate. And more importantly, what does that mean in terms of affordability of a house? It's about a 35% increase in the overall cost of the home based on the interest rates. Glenn, Bayfield is holding in terms of activity and cost. As a result of, I think, mortgage rates, Plata County is down in terms of activity, but the pricing is holding. Durango is also holding its price, but it had a really strong October. But year to date, that activity is also tailing off. So what we can expect, just like national trends, is for our housing activities to start to tail off. But I do think that pricing is going to hold. Dan, would you agree with that? Mr. comment?
He's building.
John told me you're wrong.
So we have subject matter experts in the room. So Dan, would you agree with that? Or?
Well, since I don't get asked anymore, I haven't been able to look over the data, but I think most importantly, when you look at it over 30 years, we're in a lot of pain. The price, when you look at pricing and interest rates, we have reached a pinnacle of unaffordability. And yes, overall, you're right. I think when there was the slide before that I was getting chirped at to say, Dan, what are you doing? But yeah, no, I think that we can rest assured that it won't be like that forever. But Durango's poised to continue on the pricing level. I don't see it coming down a whole lot. So.
So let's see, January, we'll probably have a really strong update for the year of 2022 in terms of real estate. Maybe have somebody who can speak. In terms of unemployment, macro unemployment is continuing to hover around 3.5%. The state is beating national average at 3.4, and Nevada County is at 2.8, down from 2.9. And that really speaks to the what's happening in the workforce here. So it's still a very, very competitive market. With that said, because of our agenda, I'm going to turn it back over to Jameson and introduce Chief.
All right. I'd love to hear from Chief Bob Grammer this morning.
Thanks, Jameson.
I think when you were,
You know what's going on in the police department. Saw you guys at on Main Street.
So we're not gonna chance that for you.
Well, they've got my favorite photo, I guess, it's up there. It's when I went to the FBI Academy in 2018. So I look younger back then than I do right now. It is No Shave November, so it's my appearance that I got going on. It's a Special Olympics fundraiser that we do every year, and it's a lot of fun. But thank you very much for having the opportunity to be here today. The Alliance is great, and we were able to participate in Ignacio a couple months ago when the summit was down there, and it was absolutely fantastic. So we learned a lot from that. And Michael was kind enough to share the videos of the presenters. And the presentation that Emerald McCain gave was absolutely on point. And I've shared that with my staff, and we're going to start breaking that down. We're having some great conversations with that as well. So the value of the Alliance to the police department and what we do is definitely crossing boundaries between different professional realms. So thank you very much.
Thank you.
So today, just a quick update on a couple of things. I'd like to have 3 touch points as we move this conversation forward. If there's any questions that anybody has on anything, please, I think it would be absolutely fantastic to engage back and forth on this. So it's just not a one-way drive for me to be able to just spit a bunch of information out to y'all, because this is your community as well. And I think it's really important that you ask questions for clarity. But the 3 things I want to talk about today, one is Michael wanted me to talk about Purple Cliffs and kind of how that's impacted the city and what we're looking at as we move forward. Then I also want to talk about the impacts of crime that we've seen over the course of the last year, since the last update that I provided, and the comparison we have from quarter 3 of last year to quarter 3 of this year, and some of the increases we've seen, and what we're thinking of how that's happening, and some of the programs that the police department we're going to utilize, and we have utilized, and we're starting to develop a proven strategy on to mitigate some of these issues that we're seeing within the area as well. And then finally, just kind of housekeeping issues, but we are working with a partnership right now with the fire department and the fire protection district. And hopefully it's going to be addressing our facility needs that not only the fire department has, but we have an open house coming up on that. I'm kind of utilizing or whatever it's mine. We need as much participation in sports we can get on that to make sure that that's a success as we move forward to the next couple of years. Purple Cliffs. Purple Cliffs closed down September 30th. As everybody knows, that was a county managed camp. It was sanctioned out there on the border of the city and county properties behind Walmart in that particular area. So that did shut down. There was a lot of concern of what the impact was going to be within our community here, if those people were going to relocate and what they were going to do and how that was going to affect our downtown and our neighborhood areas. So far, we have seen minor impacts, but we haven't seen the significant impacts that we thought we were going to see. Our advocacy groups, our nonprofits that are within the city did a fantastic job of prioritizing the people who were living out there that have the greatest needs. So we're looking at priority-wise was children and families and such like that. We're able to advocate for, get into hotels, provide some stability there, and keep continuing to integrate them back into a system, hopefully be able to find some long-term solutions for them. The Sparrow Apartments is the city solution that we came up with a while back. That is continuing to work for permanent sustainable long-term housing solutions. We continue to have availability out there. We continue to see those programs work for those people. The impacts we've seen within the city itself, as far as an influx downtown or our parks, we have seen some, but there's segregations of different populations within our homeless community. I think it's very important for everybody to understand. We can't lump everybody into one giant sum of the population. So we have people that we're continuing to deal with. There's probably about 2 dozen of them. And these are the same people we were dealing with before the closure protocols. These are the people that create a lot of disruption. These are the people that have significant mental health issues, behavioral health issues, and addiction issues. And they're the ones that we've always seen downtown. There's people that are living on our streets that have been here for the 17 years that I've worked in the Durango Police Department. That we continue to see, and we continue to put back into services, and we continue to recycle back through the process. And hopefully they're going to get some help. Hopefully someday it's going to take. And so far, it's just another challenge we continue to face. And this isn't just our challenge alone here at Durango, but it's a challenge we face across this entire country. And it's more than just a municipal problem, it's a societal problem we see across the board. And so it's really important that we continue to partner with our advocacy groups, our nonprofits, our faith-based communities out there to work this problem to see if we actually even have one or if we're creating one on our own. We have a cross-collaboration team right now that we're working with the city, and we've got multiple partners in that. And we continue to look at this and explore to see, okay, what is the impact? What are we seeing right here? And is this going to be an emergency situation that we have to deal with today? What we don't want to do is we don't want to invent a problem and create a problem where if we put out false hope to people, then all of a sudden other communities start hearing what we're doing and they come here. From a police perspective, I've spoken with the chiefs in Avon, Vail, Aspen, Steamboat. They don't have the problem we have. And we know from some of the residents we have in Sparrow Apartments that they've imported themselves here, and then we've had to take on those community problems from Boulder and Colorado Springs and other areas and house those people because they've transitioned to Durango, and we have a solution. That's what we don't want to create, is that open door policy for people to come here, so we're solving that. We want to make sure that we're focusing on our residents, our communities here, in order to ensure that they have what they need to be supported to be able to transition back to housing. So it's kind of where we're at right now. It's an ongoing problem. And we don't necessarily see a solution with it, but we know that it's not all go from hell. So there's going to be a lot of partners that are at stake here. But what I would say from a law enforcement perspective, if you have businesses downtown, or if you're living in the community and you have parks and trails issues, because we are seeing those issues out there, and we're hearing that a lot, is that it's not just us that have to partner with this. There's a lot of other environmental designs we have to continue to work through. We're partnering with Parks and Rec, our streets department, to make sure we have increased lighting, that we're devegetating a lot of these areas along the river corridor, because there's these structural environmental impacts that are there. When people can hide, they can do these nefarious type behaviors, then they're going to do that. There's going to be an attraction to this. So we're working towards that. We're working right now for a Safer Streets grant through the state of Colorado, through the Colorado Department of Justice. Hopefully that's going to go through when we approve that, so we can have some additional money. We're going to be able to put some cameras on these turns, put some more lighting in some of these areas and going through that process. So again, it's going to be about partnerships, and it's not just with the police departments, with all of our community members. So if you're seeing something out there, if you have a business that we can help with, we can give some ideas to this environmental design aspect of it, we have experts in that area, and maybe we can help with that. To be able to partner through that to make sure it's safe there. So along with that, it kind of transitions to my next topic, which is crime. Crime is up. Crime's up across the country, across the state, and it's up a little bit here. We're fortunate here though, because we're not seeing what we're seeing elsewhere. You know, the state of Colorado is the #1, we're the auto theft capital of the country right now. It's crazy. It has been that way. We actually saw a decrease here this last quarter, so I'm happy about that. That continues as well. But everybody's got to take a part in this. And I think, as I mentioned last time I was here, is, you know, most of our cars are stolen, but they're not like hot wire. They're not, you know, the typical, breaking a window, jiggy jacking a car, hot wire and taking off with it. It's because our residents are leaving the cars unlocked with the keys in it. And they're not being stripped. They're not going out to some, scrapyard or anything like that and being part of it. are being used, being just driven around, probably for other type of crimes, they're associated to that. I had a conversation at lunch yesterday with our drug task force commander for this region, and we think a lot of the crimes that we're seeing right now, because most of them are property associated, or they're going to be assault related, but they're going to be assault related within a certain population. So it's not like people are just walking down the street and getting robbed and mugged and everything else. It's more of known associates that are beating each other up and stealing each other's drugs, cell phones, whatever they're stealing. We'll go from there. But a lot of property crime. Our burglaries are up. Our criminal trespasses, where people are again getting into vehicles and stealing stuff. It's all of those are up, and our thefts are up within our residential or commercial type places like Walmart, Albertsons. Those are our two big ones right now that theft is up. We're partnering with those. We have what we're called hotspots. We're maintaining a relevance, so our officers have to go to these spots every single day. Each time during a shift, we have to partner with those businesses to hopefully drive these down. A lot of the crime we're seeing going up as well is because our staffing levels are a little different this year than they were last year. We've stabilized. We have 3 vacancies right now. Last year we had probably double that. So we have a little bit more time to focus on that. So our calls for service are up because we're generating a lot of that activity. Our DUIs are way up this year. Again, because we're detecting those, we're finding those, and we're going out there and finding that. And our partnerships with our community is up as well. So we're able to catch more people, so we're actually able to drive our own numbers. So it's kind of, when you look at it in paper, it looks like it's self-defeating, but it's not, because we're actually driving it up. We have to align that to be able to see what those calls for service are and how we're doing that. What we can't do is we can't get back into a reactive state where we're just hamstrung to the radio and we're just reacting to stuff. We're trying to grow forward thinking and try to come up with some of these things. Unfortunately, this year we've had 2 vehicular homicides. One was Captain Scott Gallagher with the fire department. The other one was most recently where the car went off the high bridge down by Woodward. And those are alcohol related. And that is the main focus of what we're doing right now is to see what can we curb within our community in relations to alcohol service, overconsumption, driving, drinking, kids. I mean, the whole bit. We've got a big problem with alcohol in this community, and we know that. And every problem we look back on, we can associate it pretty much to an alcohol issue. Our assaults, all these things that happen downtown, our disorderly conduct, our DUIs, all that kind of stuff, are all associated to something. So what we've really focused in on is, okay, how can we partner with our community to make sure that that is going to help each other with this one? Can we make sure that our bars are not overserving people? So we're working with the restaurant association and the different bars to say, okay, how do we have your people understand that you can't overserve? What does that look like? How do we make sure that the underage college kids aren't getting into the bars and then driving home drunk? How do we utilize our bus and our different public transportation and Ubers to make sure that people are getting home safe and they're not drinking and driving? All those components of it. So we're really working hard there. We're working with our liquor stores during the day and our grocery stores to make sure that they're not selling to our. We can't label them as habitual drunkards, but the community can. You can say, okay, no, you're a problem. You can't come in here. You're drunk or whatever. And kind of limiting that sale aspect of it so that these people aren't getting super drunk during the day and then becoming a problem at night and loitering in our streets and sleeping everywhere, urinating and defecating across the city and everything else. So there's a lot of problems with that. We're working that. We're actually seeing some drive and some impact with that. We need to continue to see what those partnerships are going to look like as we move through. That's a big initiative we're working this year, and that one's going to continue as well. Drugs are a problem. This weekend was super busy. We've seen some unfortunate tragedies, in the college with some overdoses lately. Fentanyl's here. Fentanyl's going to stay. Again, talking to our drug task force commander yesterday. Those investigations, they don't just stay within La Plata County. They partner and they know that these drug trades go all the way down to Mexico with cartels. Okay. They know that they're going down to Phoenix and some of these other places. Or we're developing great intelligence to understand that, okay, there's this house and our speech is saying this, and there's a couple 100,000 fentanyl pills at this house. These larger cities, it's not big enough for them. They're not touching it. They're like, it's not a million pills. We're not going to. Okay. So again, we are very fortunate here in La Plata County. I was fortunate to go to the International Association of Chiefs of Police Conference this last month in Dallas. 16,000 of my compadres across the country and the world. And then this summer I went to a class in Boston where I spent a month with 200 other professionals. And listening to the plights that they have in their communities and the issues that they're facing. And I come back and I look at our stats and look at our issues and what we're really dealing with, and the partnerships we have amongst our community between law enforcement and our leaders within our community. We are extremely fortunate. And I know sometimes we look at this and we're like, oh, this is a pretty big deal, or this is a big deal, or this is a big deal. And we get sad about it. And we're like, we got to address this right away. It's really not the big problem. You know, we've got a great community, we've got great residents, we've got great partnerships. And I really truly believe that we've got a great police department. A lot of these agencies that are down 3%. Grand Junction is supposed to have 140 cops, they have 110 right now. They can't catch up. They're not responding to calls. There's whole classifications where they're not even going to them. We're still fully doing everything. And we're showing up, you know, in a very quick manner too. So a lot of things happening yesterday. I don't know if you drove by Maine, by the Adobe Inn, about 22nd Maine. We had a squad operation yesterday in our community. You know, and what it was, it started off, we're up on Rim Drive, some of our methamphetamine addicts from Montezuma County came here, they broke into a house. It was either secondary home or potentially these people on vacation. But these people were basically limited for a couple of days as they were going through and just stealing them and just tearing up the house. They stole the car, they loaded up with all these items to include AR-15s, other guns added in there. One of our officers saw them go through a school zone yesterday. They were doing 37 and 20. He tried to catch them, they eluded him. He wasn't chasing for speed, sport decision. And then we found the vehicle later today at the Adobe Inn. Took the male in custody, the female barricaded herself because we had guns and everything else. We'll run the team out. Safely be able to bring her in custody. But we're bringing in the state, Colorado Bureau of Investigation to help us with this investigation because it's really big. We don't necessarily know how big it goes, but we are looking at other crimes, like criminal trespasses within the area, and everything else. So your teams are working hard out there. They're partnering with the Lake County Sheriff's Office to make sure we're good. Caught that fugitive that the FBI was looking for the other day, which was awesome. Actually, we caught him twice. So, you know, just stuff like that. And so there's a lot happening right now. We are fully staffed. Hopefully we're going to be able to continue that. But another fear that we have with that too is we're not competitive within this area. The sheriff, I believe, is working towards a pay raise for his deputies out there. I'm also working on a similar study right now. Right now, our officers are starting at 55,000. The sheriff's starting at 56 right now. Grand Junction's getting ready to raise their starting rate to 79,000. Collins is making 81,000. Other metro areas are in between 70 and the high rate of 81,000 where housing prices are less. As we heard today, the housing prices are hard here. It's hard for people to live here. And you know, if we're going to continue these high service levels and enjoy what we need, you know, we need to make that investment back into our police forces here to make sure that we're holding this thing. Because there is a thin line right now and it's being pushed around across the board. So the biggest thing I want to say is Thursday night, 5:30 at the Powerhouse, we're having an open house with the fire department and our community development plan, our team, to really kind of have our first public engagement meeting about the new public safety complex. We're looking at Station 2, which is the current location of the fire department at River State Hall. You know, we are desperately in need of new facilities. The fire department is desperately in need of fire facilities. We think this is a great use of our public money to be able to combine these facilities together because we work as a team so much. And that location is absolutely perfect because for us, it's all about accessibility to the community. It's not how we respond, it's how can you get to us? And you know, with that fire station right there and that partnership with the police department, I believe it's going to be an optimal location and we think we can do some great things. We continue to hold the high level of service for this community. That's my overall blue job. If there's any questions anybody has? Thanks, Chief Programmer.
Are you going to be hanging out?
Yes, absolutely. Okay, great.
Get to the Powerhouse. Thanks for staffing, so you can respond to those phone calls. That's a big deal for our community. Think about calling 911 and having nobody show up. Thank you. Okay. Tony, let's get an update from the airport. Guys, more than likely we'll run a little bit late today. Grab a pastry. Good morning, everyone. Tony McCary, the airport director at the Durango-Lackawanna County Airport. Here to provide a short update on DZ. So just jump in to start off with passenger traffic trends. You can see a running history from 19 through 22 here. The yellow bar representing 2022. Don't get too spooked by that dramatic tail off on the right of that. That is heavily impacted by our 10-day runway closure, which I'll speak more to on that front. But what you'll see here trend-wise is following up a record smashing 2021, where you can see that huge spiking in the gray there, particularly in the latter half of the year. Our trends this year have settled in pretty close to our pre-pandemic baseline. relative to 2019. You did see, however, during the summer, that line for 2022 dipped below our 19 baseline. That was driven primarily by a lack of available airline seat capacity over the course of the summer. I'll talk a little bit more about airline challenges throughout the nation and industry, but we do have a major pilot shortage that's currently impacting the capacity of almost every carrier throughout the country and their ability to drive service. Our community was affected by that, and we saw a subsequent drop-off in seat capacity. That being said, demand has remained extremely strong. Our load factors, or the percentage of seats filled, have been record-setting throughout the entirety of 2022. We're currently averaging between 85 and 80% of seats filled on aircraft, which is running about 10 percentage points ahead of any pre-pandemic baseline. So demand is extremely strong. We're just currently caught up with a little bit of a limitation relative to available airline seat capacity. I don't have the October numbers on here for 2022, still waiting on those finalizations, but I will see we're going to see a dramatic snapback, of course, from September figures there, but actually it's looking like October will be our best performing month of the entirety of 2022, which is very unusual for us. We're going to be caught up in a little bit of what we call reverse seasonality. Typically, our market performs strongest during the summer. You can see that peaking in past years during the summer period. However, this year we're actually going to see that happen more in the fall, not because demand is higher in the fall necessarily, but because there was so much demand throughout the entire nationwide air service system that airlines had to spread out those resources throughout the country and limit capacity to any one market, including ours. But as we enter into the fall, where we maintain a comparative strength compared to other markets, we're seeing that capacity build back up. Couple quick things relative to demographics. We do annual surveying of passengers. So just want to talk to a few things that have shifted over the last couple of years. During the pandemic, we saw a big change in the resident visitor mix that was skewing very heavily towards visitors. Historically, that's been about a 50-50 split, depending on the season. We see more visitation in the summer, less visitation in the winter, and vice versa relative to local resident utilization of the airport. During the pandemic, that skewed extremely heavily towards inbound visitation in all seasons. However, in 2022, we did see that reset to essentially historic norms. So after the major impacts of 20 and 21, 2022 was resettled into a normal pattern in terms of the visitor and resident mix. An area that still remains significantly impacted, however, is the reason for travel. Business travel remains quite suppressed. We saw that at historic lows, of course, during 2020, lingering pretty strongly through 2021. We've seen some recovery in 2022, as most markets have, relative to some business travel, but our number on a proportionate basis is still down about half from where that would have been pre-pandemic. So that's not unique to Durango, but something that we're still seeing. That being said, that demand has been backfilled and then some by leisure and VFR, visit friends and relatives traffic. That's again consistent throughout the nationwide system. Our geographic origins haven't changed dramatically, but we have seen an overall shift to the south. The states of Texas and Florida have been picked up market share effectively into our region, and interstate travel within the state of Colorado, and then as well as just general travel throughout the West is slightly down. And then you can see a few other things. We've had slight shifts to slightly older and more affluent passenger traffic profile. Our party size has increased, longer trips. Those last two are largely indicative of the shift away from business travel, which tends to be shorter duration and single travelers. So we're seeing some of the implications there. And then we're seeing an uptick in inbound visitation into Pagosa and a decrease into the Farmington market relative to pre-pandemic. Just looking at the airline route map, I think everyone's probably familiar with this. We have ongoing service with United into Denver, 6 daily frequencies currently in the month of November, and then American has daily service to Dallas, Phoenix, at 3 and 2 daily respectively. That route map, unfortunately, is not looking quite as fun as it did 1 year ago when it would have been here, when, as I think everyone knows, we had both Delta and Frontier enter the market in 2021. Delta exited after a very quick 6 months, unfortunately largely driven by the pilot shortage that was just constraining their ability to deliver crews and having to do triage and cut markets on that front, despite overall strong performance statistics in their short stint here in our market. Frontier was a different animal, which I'm stealing their phrase there, but different setup there. In that case, we didn't see the exit due to the pilot shortage. That was strictly driven by lack of demand. The business model for Frontier did not fit our market. Load factors here in 2022 were under 40%, which is an awful load factor, particularly for a low-cost carrier that's driven on volume and is going to be looking for really a minimum of about an 80% load factor. So, the resonance of that kind of business model where it was less than daily service to biweekly with minimal connectivity that just did not resonate in our community. And so ultimately you see an airline, of course, make a business decision to exit the market. I spoke about airline industry challenges. There's a number of things going on here. We're seeing in 2022 is a huge snapback in overall demand. This really started in the back half of 2021, particularly in certain markets. Ours was one of them. We saw that huge peaking in the back half of 2021, but that same kind of crescendo of resumption of demand has really restored itself nationwide in 2022. Through current year in October, national airline numbers are running about 95% of pre-pandemic, so almost back to the pre-pandemic baseline overall. But unfortunately, what's happened is that it's outstripped the available capacity of the airlines. During the pandemic, of course, the airlines stripped fleet, stripped staff, trying to hedge losses during that period of time, and they're struggling to keep up, as we're seeing across really the spectrum of business operations, not just the airlines side. One of the big impacts, as I mentioned earlier, is the nationwide pilot shortage. This was an issue that was definitely present before the pandemic, not really spoken about to a great extent there, but the pandemic definitely exaggerated that issue. And now we've come out of it with a significant shortage in airline flight crew. This is most specifically resonating for regional carriers. So the mainline carriers of the world, the Americans, Uniteds, Delta, et cetera, are hiring away aggressively pilots out of the regional ranks. So the folks that fly for the SkyWests, the Mesas, the Commute Airs, that fly the contract routes into places like Durango that don't typically see service from mainline American and United jet equipment on that type of front. So it's really limited the capacity of regional carriers to provide service. And that ultimately played out, as you saw in our market, I talked about seat capacity being down during the summer. There's just not the available crews to be able to allocate on the regional side. Other than that, you can see if anyone's tried to shop airfares lately, they're not the cheapest they've been in a while. Hopefully you got some flights in during the pandemic when things were nice and suppressed, because unfortunately airfares are up significantly nationwide and are unlikely to move downward anytime soon, given the pressures that we're seeing with jet fuel prices, labor costs, and the pent-up demand we're seeing is really outstripping that supply side. And then, of course, same story around staffing. Airline staffing shortages beyond just pilots are an issue. Airlines at the DRO relative to the ground service operations, definitely probably the biggest group that's struggling in terms of staffing in our current market right now. The TSA has struggled with staffing throughout the last year and a half in particular. Airport's fared a little bit better, but has some of our own challenges, in particular with any seasonal part-time hiring and then vendors as well. Just to kind of put a little perspective on this, I talked about challenges with regional service in particular. This is a map showing station exits, so airline departures from markets since the onset of COVID. This is just from American, Delta, and United, which are really the predominant flyers of any regional equipment in the domestic market here in the U.S. So you can see 63 station exits that have happened since the onset of the pandemic. And you'll notice as you look at these various cities here, they're almost exclusively small to mid-sized regional markets on par with Durango or something comparable. So you see us on the map there, unfortunately, with that Delta exit. We're far from the only market that's been impacted by those types of exits. You can see to our Northbury Junction had a very similar experience with Delta. In their case, Delta was a 30-year flagship airline that exited that market. So it's definitely a sweeping issue that we're seeing occurring across the country. Spinning over a little more positive news, 2022 is a huge project year for the airport. We've completed about $15 million in capital improvements so far this year. I won't touch on all of these. The two biggies for us are the top left and top right there. Rehabilitation of runway 321, the sole runway of the airport, which I'll talk about here briefly, and then terminal expansion here at the airport as well. So on the runway, I think as everyone probably knows, we underwent a major capital project to repave the entire length and width of runway 321 at the airport. It's a 9,201 foot long by 150 foot wide asphalt surface. We milled and overlaid a 3-inch top course on that asphalt, as well as grooving, restriping, and all new edge lighting for the airport's sole runway. That project occurred in early September. We had a 10-day hard closure. It was a painful period, completely shut down all fixed wing operations for the airport and all air service for the community, shut off all the financial spigot for the airport. Really challenging. With that being said, really happy to say that project was completed on time and under budget. It was a major $12 million investment in the most important piece of infrastructure an airport has. We had an amazing team on that. Four Corners Materials is our prime contractor. Dibble Engineering is the resident engineering and design engineer on the project. Went fantastically smooth, got a little bit lucky with some good weather, and our team took it from there. Actually opened the runway up 4 hours ahead of our schedule, plenty of comfort on that front, which was great. It's a really fantastic project, exciting one for our team to complete on that front. And looking forward to not having to touch the runway in any significant way relative to construction for a long time here at DRO. Brand new aerial photography. You can see that newly rehabbed runway there, looking nice and good perspective with the Lemonade Wilderness up to the north there. And then lastly, just to jump into terminal development, I've talked about this group a couple of times as we move through our design process. So quick update here. We have a couple of phases of planned terminal development at the airport. The first is development phase 1A. This is a relatively targeted project, really more of an enabling project for us. We're currently predominantly through design on this project. We've gone over to the construction manager and done construction. They're now on board with our team. We've just recently finished up design development and have an early procurement package negotiated with NUN to move this project forward. And we're on track to begin construction in April of 2023, so late spring next year. The project will add one airline gate and holding room, additional or added public restrooms, as well as new post-screening concessions, family restroom, other nursing room, and some other amenities that we'll have to be able to create some added capacity for the airport. We're looking at about a 12 to 14 month construction timeline to complete all the aspects of this particular project. And assuming all goes well relative to our main planning, we plan to be able to hopefully leverage that right into phase 1B of the project, which is a much more sweeping and impactful project. We're planning to work through design development and CDs on phase 1B next year, concurrent with the construction of phase 1A. This project is major, a lot of facets to it. Of note, what it does is it relocates the TSA screening checkpoint to create a new center point and center flow for the building. Remove it from the current constrained center line of the building, displace baggage claim, which will build out all new, add yet another airline gate and holding room, expand post-screening concessions, be able to reclaim the airline boarding gate area that's currently about 90% occupied by the existing TSA screening checkpoint, and really reset the facility in a way that should right-size us moving forward for what we forecast is at least the next 10 years of airline growth, and better position ourselves to recruit and retain air service in the market, especially as we talk about some of the challenges with regional airline traffic. One of the pushes we're definitely seeing for markets that can produce enough demand is the potential for shifting to more and more mainline traffic. So seeing instead of 50 to 70 seat regional jet aircraft flying service for American and United, seeing actual mainline mount from American and United and Airbus A319 or A320 type of aircraft. Those are conversations we're currently having with our existing carriers and making sure that our facilities are presented and moving in a way that can accommodate some of those changes we're seeing to larger gauge aircraft, bigger peaks. It's just the natural changes in the industry, and we're trying our best to keep up with that through some of our terminal development plans. And lastly, just a couple of quick renderings. We haven't picked out final finishes and colors and such, so sort of ignore that and look at it more from a conceptual standpoint at this point, but we're pretty excited to break ground on phase 1A, as you mentioned, in the spring and really kick off this project. And for those that have followed airport terminal development over the years, just reiterate that this project is not intended to utilize local tax dollars as opposed to different projects proposed potentially in the past. We've broken this down into a series of phases, all of which we intend to be able to fund through our port revenue and grant streams. So with that, I'm just taking final questions.
Thank you, Tony.
Yes.
Is there a plan to do anything with the parking lot?
Yes, yeah, so one of our projects for next year is we're going to start design on the first phase of parking lot expansion. The parking lot has been very busy lately. If you try to park in the month of October, you would notice that we were close to peak, and then if you try to fly out during Thanksgiving, I would suggest that you look into carpooling options. We typically max out parking on Thanksgiving every year, so we are going to undertake design next year and plan on expansion opportunities in 2024 to incrementally start adding space. It was really empty in September.
I went to rent a car there and there was like no one there.
Okay. Thanks so much, Tony. Three other presentations in the
Thanks, Ken.
I'm Candidates for the Lemon Group, and I want to spend just a couple of minutes talking about the big changes that are going on here in LaPlata County for individual and small group health insurance. As you know, health insurance is very expensive here in LaPlata County, continues to be an issue. And I know many of you are on large employer groups, but I want to address just for a few minutes those that are on individual plans. Currently, we have 4 carriers in 2022 doing individual health insurance. We have Anthem Blue Cross Blue Shield. They've been here for about 60 years in La Plata County. We've got Rocky Mountain Health Plans, which is owned by United Healthcare. And of course, we've got Bright Health. Bright Health was the most popular individual plan here locally. They partnered with Locals First, and we got a lot of people enrolling individually in Bright Health in 2022. We still have small group with Anthem, obviously United, Friday, and Bright. But look what happens in 2023. We lose Bright Health. They're exiting the state, and I'll talk a little bit about that in just a moment. We're also losing Friday, and we're losing Bright Health in the group market as well. So starting in 2023, we're going to have fewer options for individual health plans, fewer options for group health plans. So the question is, what happened to Bright? Bright insured a lot of individuals here locally. They were the #1 enroller of individual people here in La Plata County. Over the last 2 years, Bright as a health insurance company, they just grew too fast. They took on a lot of numbers quickly. And unfortunately, they started their health company right before COVID. So that did not happen financially. So the Division of Insurance said to Bright Health, we will allow you to exit the state, and we're left with fewer carriers. Those of you that are insured with Bright Health, we will cover you through the end of the year. But starting January 1, you'll have to enroll in a new individual health plan. I want to talk real quickly about the Connect for Health. This is the website that you go into to enroll in an individual plan and to receive your tax credit. Now, not everybody's going to get a tax credit on an individual health plan. It's going to be based on your income. But if you're roughly making less than 80 or 90,000 a year and you're a single household, there are tax credits to help you afford health insurance. For families, you can be making 120,000 a year and still get tax credits to help you afford your health plan. So definitely you want to look into Connect for Health if you're looking for individual plans. They all are ACA, what they call ACA qualified plans. We have several brokers here in our area that can help you navigate through Connect for Health if you're looking for a health plan. And of course, brokers do not charge for their services when they're helping you with Connect for Health. So definitely I encourage you to reach out to a broker for help on the individual Connect for Health. One of the things real quickly, and we can wrap it up. Open enrollment is now going on. November 1 was the start of open enrollment. And remember, on these individual plans, you can only enroll at the first of the year. You can't jump in the middle of the year unless you lose group coverage or you have a qualifying event. So open enrollment is now. It goes through December 15th for a January 1 effective date. There is a grace period. They give you an extra month. So you actually have until January 15th to enroll for February 1st. But again, after that deadline goes by, no more opportunity to enroll in individual plans unless you have a qualifying event. I want to make one other comment. We do have now what's called an ICHRA. In the past, employers could not pay for individual plans for employees. That's all changed with an ICHRA concept. It's basically an individual health reimbursement account where an employer can set up an HRA, and out of the HRA, they can pay individual health insurance premiums for their employees. So the question is, why would I want to do something like this when I can do a small group plan?
Right now, individual plans will continue to be about 30% less than group health plans. So that's why an employer might want to have his or her employees enroll in an individual health plan. There are no tax credits, obviously, if you enroll through an ICHRA, through your employer, but you can go out and select an Anthem plan, a Friday plan, or a Rocky Mountain Health plans for your individual plan, and have your employer pay for that individual health plan through the ICHRA concept. The reason individual plans continue to be less than group, there was a reinsurance bill that the state of Colorado passed a couple of years ago, which basically reimburses individual carriers if they're stuck with a large claim. If they have a large claim, the state will reimburse them for that large claim out of a fund that the state has set up. The reason the state did that was to encourage individual health insurance carriers to stay in small areas like La Plata County. Most of the individual carriers wanted to be on the front range because that's where the majority of people are. But to encourage insurance carriers to stay in areas like La Plata County, they passed that reinsurance bill. And by doing that, individual health insurance costs came down about 30 to 40% in the individual market. So just a couple of things. What are the pros of an individual or an ICHRA? Lower cost than traditional small group coverage, and businesses of any size can enroll in an ICHRA. Plans can be offered to your full-time, part-time, or seasonal employees. And of course, employers control how much they want to contribute towards the plan for that employee. Couple of negatives, there are a lot of moving parts in setting up an ICHRA as opposed to just doing a small group plan, but the cost savings is huge. So that's why employers might want to look at the ICHRA rather than a small group plan. And of course, if you have out-of-state employees, those out-of-state employees are going to go and have to get an individual plan in the state that they reside in. So that can be a little difficult. But I think one of the biggest issues with the ICHRA is your employees do have to go out into the market and purchase an individual plan, and then have you as an employer reimburse them for it. So a lot of things happening in the small and individual market for 2023. I just encourage you to reach out to an insurance broker. We have several locally that can help you with individual, small group, etc. So that's it. Thanks for your time.
Thanks so much, Ken. We'll go to Julie Consley from CDOT. We got a lot going on.
Good morning, everybody. Thank you. I think it's slides, but okay. Region 5, I take care of 15 counties, southwest, south central Colorado, so Oklahoma County, although it's my home base and home base for a lot of our employees within Region 5. We do have 3,500 miles of lane miles that we have to take care of with the funds that we get. So I always like to remind people of that. Okay, Senate Bill 260 was passed back in 2001, and it brought some new revenue into our system. Right now, CDOT gets about $1.8 billion per year out of our normal gas tax funds, federal funds, all of that kind of stuff. This brought in an additional $1.68 billion for a 4-year window, or about $336 million per year. How that trickles down, Region 5 gets anywhere from 10 to 15% of most of the funding streams that I take care of down here. So right now, I'm getting an extra $23 million per year for the next 5 years to do some of our bigger, more what we call discretionary projects. Examples of that would be the 550-160 connection project that you've seen us working on for a long time, the Cave Creek and the Rosa Springs, where we've had that narrowed down for the last couple of years, and we've got 1 more year in front of us because it rained all summer. And then like the Toyota Passing Lane, South Cortez, those types of projects is what we use this money for. A bunch of new fees came in for it, and some of what they're trying to do is they know we're not collecting as much money gas tax wise with more electric vehicles coming into the system. The governor is really all in on electric vehicles. So they're trying to put some new fees in place to help backfill what we're not seeing in gas tax with these fees. So I'm sure you've seen some of them on your home delivery fees. This year, we'll start to see a couple extra cents per gallon going into gasoline. That delay that's going to happen this year. So IIJA also came into it, the Infrastructure Act. Really, that was more focused towards a whole bunch of grant programs. It didn't really bring on a bunch of new revenue into our $1.8 billion we get per year. But it has allowed us to leverage a bunch of our discretionary projects to try and chase grants. So for example, LaPlata County submitted a grant application on our behalf to continue to work on that 4-lane section that we need to get between Elmhurst Corner and Mayfield. We haven't received it. We have one more application in that we haven't heard back, but I'm having a feeling we're not going to get it. So LaPlata County is going to go after what we call a raise grant next for us, hopefully, as long as they agree. But lots of grant programs are out there to help with transportation, but they're all competitive, so we have to fight for every dollar we get. So on that note, yeah, I mentioned Elmhurst Corner. So this is our next priority project for the southwest corner of the state, is really doing everything we can to get a 4-lane section between Durango and Mayfield. It's going to be phased out in a number of phases. Phase 1 is really 4-laning from Elmhurst Corner down to County Road 225. You're all very familiar with County Road 225. We are in the process of designing a roundabout there. It would be a rural roundabout. You would be able to navigate it a little faster than you can see the Florida Road roundabout. Trucks can get through it. It will be designed to handle those trucks. It will slow a lot of traffic down, but in all honesty, from CDOT's perspective, slowing down traffic as you start to enter that corridor, giving them clues that you're going to start to see different things happening because there's a lot of development going on out there, is a good thing, and it should hopefully make the highway safer for us. So a roundabout, and then doing some alternating passing lanes between the area known as Dry Creek, which is about 5 miles out from Mayfield. So again, we're phasing these efforts out, but this will be our next big grant chase, and it's going to take us securing a big grant to make it happen. Because that $23 million a year I get for discretionary projects, this is $100 million. So it takes 5 years of saving that money to make something like this happen, where if we can get the grant, then we can focus funds on other things as well. Mention is moving along still. If you've been down south, you've seen that we've swapped traffic over. So those northbound lanes that we were building for the last 2 years are now paved. So you're using that for most of the alignment. The hill that is in this picture is pretty much gone now. This retaining wall hill is pretty much down to the end of the bridge. That's where we're going to have what we call an egg-about versus a roundabout. It's going to be a long, oval-shaped roundabout. The reason why we're doing this is, one, it's the construction costs of the amount of cut we had to do. And then two, the majority of the mainline traffic is going to be going just straight through there. So that should keep that traffic flowing better, but still allow the opportunity for the side traffic. So with the, and then I'm sure you've read the action line and the ski jump. We are going to get that fixed as part of this project. I just got authorization from headquarters to add that in. What we have going on is the abutments, the edges next to the bridge is what's settling. The bridge is fine, it's not going anywhere. Those abutments are settling, and it's happening on the main bridge as well as the ramp that's coming off of 160 there. So we're basically going to build what we call a land bridge, which is basically another bridge that just goes down to the bedrock that the road stays on. So all of this, we're hopeful to have done by August or September of next year. So we have 1 more year of construction going on out there. And then upcoming project next year that's going to really impact this area in the airport. So sorry, Tony. We are going to overlay Highway 172, which is from Elmhurst Corner down to Ignacio. It needs bad facelift if you've been driving it lately, so it's going to get completely repaved. We're going to do everything we can to minimize the impact. We tried to look at doing night work on it, but we've got a project over Pagosa that we really need to do night work on because the line of traffic from downtown Pagosa to uptown Pagosa is more than 172. So it will be daytime operating hours. We're going to try and see what we can do around the elementary school because we have a heck of a lot more traffic there. But you'll see us out there working next summer. And again, again, trying to minimize those delays and the impact. Unfortunately, we really had to get it by schools. So that is a big project you'll see coming up next year. And then one other project you'll see, especially for those of you that drive to Denver, we are going to overlay Pagosa Springs. So we're basically going from the downtown area out past Walmart, out past the old Worley Horse Ranch place. Again, we're doing night work as much as we can in those areas to try and keep traffic flowing and have no impacts. But that project is going to be going. That's about all I have.
On your grant list, rail was listed. Are you guys doing something with rail?
Well, Front Range Passenger Rail, CDOT's kind of tied into the Front Range Passenger Rail effort, so that would be that. My list of grants was more just to kind of show you the whole smattering of grants that came out of that bill. There was a lot of them.
Yeah. Thank you.
Those of you individuals without health coverage that need night work, it sounds like there's an opportunity.
Spacebar. Good, thanks. I needed that. He told me how to advance the slides, so I should have gotten here early to do that. I'm not sure why this got up here. We'll get rid of that. I'm here to talk about SCAPE. We founded it about 10 years ago, right, Laura? That's about right. At the instigation of the then director of Region 9, Ed Moreland, and continuing support from Region 9 and a lot of other great groups. So it's really two components. There's the accelerator program run by our 501c3 nonprofit SCAPE. It's almost a year-long program where we're really trying to help companies almost at any level really get market ready, get investor ready, and scale their operations if they've already started and have a product in the marketplace. Complementing that are our SCAPE investment funds. So they're venture capital funds, typically investing in common stock or preferred stock that the company issues as they raise equity. We're a little bit different in that we do annual funds, not the typical, but they last for about 7 years each or 7 or 8 years. But a typical venture fund will get a total capital commitment, paid in capital, but a capital commitment from investors, but then call that over 4 years and make continuing investments out of that one fund for new ones for 4 years, follow-ons through that period in an additional few years. And so it takes that long. We decided not to do that. The first fund was a little bit like that. After that, we saw that there were a lot of new people wanting to come in, and you can't come into a fund that you only raise every 5 or 6 years. So we did it annually, and that's been a really positive impact for us, I think. So that's the thing. I want to talk a little bit about returns. So I'll put this up first. Our investors they're mostly individuals, of course. Although SCAPE puts in some of its own money, Region 9 does, the Alliance has, some other institutions have looked at it and stuff. But it's mainly private individuals. And they're not looking to make a lot of money off the investments. They're there to support local businesses that are creating great jobs. That's what it's all about. But having said that, we want them to get back to sort of normal kind of return out of the fund so that they'll be more encouraged to continue to make new investments and potentially even larger investments. So we're trying to get what we would call I wouldn't call it industry standard, but pretty close to 2.5 to 3 times the money back. So that's a distribution. We call it distribution out of the fund back to the individual investors relative to the paid-in capital. That is the investments that they made individually. That, of course, is the whole for all the investors. So 2.5 to 3 times is what we're trying to get. Fund 1 did return 2.8 times, so right about where we wanted to be. Fund 2, fortunately or unfortunately, I'm not sure which these days, but set a standard that I just don't see how we're ever going to meet again. Almost 25 times the money back for the investment. So the Alliance invested $5,000 in that fund, and that was a pretty nice 25 times return on that money. Fund 3, which the Alliance didn't invest in, has already returned almost 5 times the distribution, and the current total market value or total fair value of the fund. So that includes both the distributions for companies that have exited that we've given back to the investors, plus the current estimate of the fair market value of the investments we've got in the ongoing active companies or active investments. They're still active companies, but maybe they've exited somehow and paid us back. So in 4, which is pretty new, and it tends to be how venture capital works. You invest money, they don't immediately turn around and get you your money back, right? It takes years for them to keep building and building the value of the company. So in the early years of a fund, you really don't see distributions at all, and even the fair market value of those investments doesn't go up a lot because we base it on follow-on investments at a higher price. We try to be very conservative about how we estimate the fair market value. So, but 4, which is 3 years old, basically, has already returned almost twice twice the paid-in capital, and it's got a 3 times level of our fair market value. We think there's a lot of growth left in the value of the companies we're in. So we've still got 7 active investments in 4. And then 6 was just last year's fund. Still have 9 investments. We haven't, obviously, in the first year, we haven't gotten any distributions back to the investors. And the total fund value is even a little bit less than the money that was put in. And that's standard because Scape, as the general partner of these funds, gets the standard returns from that all venture capital general partners get, I'd say. So 2% management fee each year, and then 20% of the 20% of the gains once the investors have been paid back their initial capital contribution or capital investment company. So, and we take that management fee 5 years worth and reserve that and don't invest it. So we'll have that to be able to pay each year. So that's why it's you lower it for that reason. That's why it's less than 1 for this year. So now we're in we started raising we call it SIF7, Scape Investment Fund 7. So its intent is to invest in the companies that have gone through Scape this year, plus probably some follow-on investments from some of the prior year companies. We always do that when they come back. They get the initial amount of money, they put that to good use, scale up, and then want to scale even more. So we'll go back for a second, third, sometimes even a 4th round of financing. So we invest in some of those, not to support them. We're not out there if we don't have to invest. If they've got enough investors, we say fine, you're okay. We're not, even though it's probably going to be a very successful investment, we typically don't. We step back and save our money for the very early stage. We are, there just aren't other sources of venture capital, startup capital in this community. So that's what our focus is. So that's what we're trying to do. We've capped it at $1 million. SIF6 was $790,000. That was our biggest to date. Last year was our biggest to date. This year, we've capped it at $1 million, and to date, we've raised $675,000. And again, like I said before, it's just the initial contribution of an early capital call from the fund. So it's a one-time capital contribution. And I will say, we haven't, didn't want to put it up here, but for the individual investors in the fund, there's some amazing tax benefits. The 1202, which is, was passed back in the end of 2017, made permanent at the end of 2017. It's actually been around for 20 years, but it provides the opportunity for an awful lot of our investments, I'd say most of them, to be totally tax-free from capital gains for individual investors. So you have to hold it for 5 years or do some other exchanges to some, but it has that capability, and we think we're going to get that in quite a few.
And then secondly, state of Colorado, thank you very much, has really expanded the advanced industry tax credit. So there's a 35% tax credit against the individual investments that are made for any of the companies that are in advanced industries, and an awful lot of ours are. We apply for that, and they really expanded the credits. We've used it in the past, but they've run out of credits during the year. It's such a good program, but they went a fourfold increase. So really exciting, again, for the private investors in the thing. You've got to be an accredited investor to come in on that basis and so on, but I'm really excited. And as I said before, the general partner scheme gets a 2% annual management fee, which partially covers the expenses of forming and operating the fund, not all of them, and then gets the 20% carried interest, which again is their share of the gains, if you will, after the investors have been paid back their total initial investment, and then they continue to get 80%. So that's what it is. I'd like to really quickly, I know we're running over. See, that's it. Oh, here we go. Okay, so I want to cover the companies, and again, these are the companies that went through SCAPE and are looking to raise money in the next few months. There are two of the companies that are really good companies. They just don't need to raise money right now. So the first one is called Alpine Origins. It's really two different product lines. True Fly Supply. I usually bungle that name, but True Fly Supply. They've got a program where they provide boxes of flies to fishermen, fly fishermen, either home delivered on a subscription basis or even in retail stores. And then a second product line, or second product group that's developing really innovative products for gear storage and recreation equipment. So that's the first company. The second is Base Medical. And this company provides essentially online, remote and in-person training in medical, wildland medical and first aid, and primarily to guides, to search and rescue volunteers, and to just individuals that are interested in mountain climbing associations and things like that. So pretty exciting, well established and doing a great job. The third, and push it harder. Third company is GeekPack, and Julia's company provides online training and skills development for women in the area of technology, coding, and business skills. And then is very good about building a community around that to make sure they complete it, use it, and work together. So again, well-established company with very good revenue and increasing significantly. Farm to Summit, they use locally sourced produce to produce nutritious, flavorful, sustainably packaged, dehydrated meals. They sell those both direct and through retail, including REI and Backcountry Experience and other individual stores like that. So they've got a store right on Main. Stop by and sample it. I think you'll find them really tasty. I use them sometimes just when I'm too lazy to do anything else at home. They're really good. And they have lattes too that are really good. So Higher Purpose Homes, their mission is to build a factory that's going to produce high quality, lower cost modular homes for the Southwest. It's by far the company that needs the most investment. It's really going to be, I think they need a lot of support. They're reaching out to different government entities and others, and we'll see, and we hope they're successful. They've got a big hurdle ahead. Trip Outside is an online marketplace platform that connects outdoor enthusiasts with guides and gear rental shops. And their platform has ratings and reviews, and that allows the outdoor traveler enthusiast to book a reservation and make the payment. And then, of course, they get their commission on these bookings. And then, I don't think it's here, but so for some reason, one other company, Cold Case Gear, either I skipped it really quickly or got left out, my fault. But they've developed and are selling essentially containers, if you will, made out of advanced materials that are waterproof and temperature resistant, so that you can put mobile phones or any other device in there when you're going on an outdoor activity where they could get wet or cold or other things. So they've got great reviews, and Strava, which is a trail and location app, highly used, recommended Cold Case Gear to all of their users. So it's pretty exciting. Sorry that was. So again, thank you very much for the continued support of SCAPE, which is really continuing the support of these great companies in Southwest Colorado. Thanks. I'll be around for a minute if anybody wants to.
Thanks so much, Gary. Thanks for Escape. Thank you all for hanging in there with us today. Questions? We still have a couple of minutes here and happy to answer those questions. Make sure to work public updates, emergency responders. Thanks for the presenters today. Between insurance, you name it. Community. So thanks for coming. Wonderful Thanksgiving. See you in December.